Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I actually have been called David quite a lot today. That is my actual name. It's also very formal. So just feel free to call me Dee. Dee's much more informal. It's a nickname I got given when I was about 7 or 8. It just happened and it stuck. So feel free to call me Dee. Please don't call me sir. Okay, I'm not a teacher. And please don't call me miss either, because that happened once and it was really, really awkward. I'm obviously not from here, as you've been told. I do currently live in Scotland. I'm not originally from Scotland. I have a bit of a funny accent. Anybody actually want to guess where I'm from originally? Any guesses? Anyone good at accents? Good for accents? Any guesses at all? Ireland, you're spot on. Boy at the back, what's your name? You were going to say Wales. Okay, no. It's definitely not Wales. Who said Ireland? There was a few of you said Ireland. You did. What's your name? Sorry? At least you're pretty spot on. Can you be a little bit more specific than just Ireland? Northern Ireland, you're spot on. Can you be a little bit more specific than Northern Ireland? Any cities you know in Northern Ireland? Anyone know any cities in Northern Ireland? Belfast, spot on. Who said that? Could you be any more specific than Belfast? Like what street?
I only know Hollywood in Belfast.
That's where Auntie's from. It's not where I'm from though. Just actually, to be honest, just checking you're not a stalker. Sorry? That's another place. You know a couple of places, but that's not where I'm from originally. I come from a little town just outside Belfast. But like I said, feel free to call me Dee today. You, as you know, I work for a company called Tree of Knowledge. Has anyone, by the way, I should have asked, anyone been to Belfast? You've known a few places. Anyone been to Belfast before? A few of you. Anyone been to the new Titanic Centre? No, you have. What do you think of it? It was all right, yeah. They recently in Belfast built a brand new Titanic Centre. It's a beautiful building. You can go in and find out all about how the Titanic was built, how it was made, because back in Belfast, you see, we're really, really proud of that ship that we built that it sank. That was us. I moved from Ireland to Scotland when I was 15. I found it incredibly difficult moving as a 15-year-old for a couple of different reasons. Discovered very quickly there's lots of words that we use in Northern Ireland that are actually not used elsewhere. They have the same word, but they're very different meanings. For example, things like the word crack. All right, now obviously, most parts of the UK the word crack could be crack in the ground, crack in the wall, a certain type of drug. Does anyone know what the word crack means in Belfast? Anyone ever came across that term? Yes? Yeah, it's another word for a bit of fun, having a bit of a laugh. It's another word for banter. Can you imagine being 15, right? You're trying your hardest to make friends in Scotland, and you turn to someone in your class and go, mate, any good jokes, any good banter, any good crack? That's a very quick way of getting yourself into trouble with a school once they find the new boy's been asking for drugs on his first day. I eventually did settle in and I went off to university. At university, I studied a little bit of psychology, which helps with my job, which is at the minute a motivational speaker, which I know when I say that people tend to vomit a little bit in their own mouth. I think it's going to be really cheesy, really corny. But a lot of what I do is based in psychology. But actually, my main degree in university wasn't in psychology. It was actually in teaching. And I was a secondary school teacher for about 2 years before I did this job. I actually used to teach geography. And if I'm being honest, I really did enjoy being a teacher, but honestly, my favourite part about being a teacher wasn't actually talking to young people about geography and glaciers and rivers. I did enjoy that, but my favourite part was actually talking to young people like yourselves about all the stuff you wanted to do when you leave school. You know, your dreams and your goals, your ambitions. Even as a teenager, I was always very interested in what motivates people and what drives people. And I actually want to pick up on one or two of the things that David's mentioned to you a little bit earlier this morning. One of the main things actually was this idea of behavior and attitude, because one of my key themes today is actually to do with your mindset. Now, your mindset is basically your attitude. It's the way you think about stuff, all right? I know this glass of, well, this cup, it's kind of, you can't really see it. Imagine it is half full, okay? Some of you tell me that's half full, others will tell me it's half empty, okay? The whole idea of mindsets is how two different people can look at the exact same thing and view it very differently. And there was a psychologist called Dr. Carol Dweck. Her whole career was based on mindset. And your mindset is it's a tiny little thing, the little subconscious decision you make very early that can have a big impact on your life later on. And to start off with today, I thought I would give you 5 statements that this psychologist, Dr. Carol Dweck, used on different people she interviewed. And all I want you to do is tell me and put your hand up whether you agree or disagree with each of these statements. Okay, so for my first statement is, if at first you don't succeed, you would try again. Hands up if you agree with that statement. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. Okay, that's over about 90% of us. Okay, statement number 2. The best sports stars, top athletes in the world, are born with a natural talent. Hands up if you agree with that. The best athletes in the world are born with a natural talent. Okay, a lot less, maybe about 20%. Statement number 3, if there's somewhere you love to go on holiday, you quite happily go there every single year. So your favorite holiday destination, you'd go there year after year after year if you could. Hands up if you agree with that statement. Okay, a little bit less again. Statement number 4, some people are born more intelligent than others. Hands up if you agree with that one. Okay, it's a lot more, maybe 60%. And my last statement, if you didn't get into the job, university, or college of your choice, you would find out why, gain experience, and you would apply again. Hands up if you agree with that statement. If you didn't get into the job, uni, or college of your choice, you'd find out why and gain experience and apply again. Okay, about 90% of us again. Right, okay, there was a problem with me asking you those questions. I'm trying to test your mindset here, but when I do that, the problem is a lot of you weren't really being honest there. What you were doing was you were trying to think to yourself, right, if I put my hand up here, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Does that make me positive or does that make me negative? You're trying to outthink it. And the thing about mindsets is to find someone's true mindset, you actually have to do it more subconsciously. In other words, I got to figure it out without you realizing I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm going to ask you a different question this time, okay? And I just want you to be very honest with yourself here. Don't be honest with me or your teachers or each other. Be honest with yourself, okay? I want you to imagine yourself holding a bar, kind of an iron bar. And I want you to imagine there's two big weights at either end, kind of like a set of weighted scales, right? And I'm going to label this weight over here, going to label it reward or success. And I want you to think of a goal that you have in mind, whether it's for fitness or sport or career. Think of a goal that you really want to happen, all right? Now, if I was to ask you, as a percentage, how much reward or success would you love to get out of that goal? If I said to you, you can wave a magic wand, I want you to pick a percentage of how much reward or success you could get from that goal. Which percentage would you pick? If you could have any percentage you want. It's a stupid question. You can give me a stupid answer. How much would you want if you could have any percentage? Oh, of course you would. You'd be crazy if you didn't pick 100% of the reward. We all want to have a lot of reward, a lot of success. The other weight, though, I'm going to very simply label effort. All right, I'm going to ask you a very similar question, and again, I want you to be honest here with yourself. As a percentage, how much effort are you putting currently towards that goal? Okay, and I want you to get a figure in your head. Okay, I'm going to start at 100% and work my way down in tens, and I want you to put your hand up when I get to your figure. And please just be honest with yourself here, okay? And see if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm probably putting in 90 or 100%. Please be proud of it, okay? I do work in some places where people seem to be very embarrassed about putting in more than 90% because we live in this it's kind of, we're one of the only countries in the world to do this, but for some reason in this country, it's very, very cool to learn in primary school. Okay, and if you don't remember that, do you remember those days in primary school? We used to get an entire queue of people at the teacher's desk, all over in the book, shouting, I finish first. All right? I remember when I was in primary 4, I used to be in the top reading set. Thank you. And my primary 4 teacher one day, she accidentally gave me a book that I had already read. And I was raging. I was outraged. How dare she give me a book I've already read? I wanted the next book. I wanted the next challenge. My mates in school started to make fun of me because I was a book behind it. Right? When was the last time you saw it in secondary school? Mates making fun of each other for being too far behind. Usually mates make fun of you if you go too far ahead. And like I said, in this country, it's very cool to learn in primary school. It's also very cool to learn in university and college. For some reason, it's not always cool to learn in secondary school because if you do that, you get called a geek, a nerd, a swot, you get put down. It makes absolutely no sense. And it's the only time in your life it happens. Even right now, the people you look up to, your sports stars, your celebrities, you look at them and go, oh man, you know, they're amazing, but you never look at them and go, what a geek for putting all that effort in. You never do that. You do to each other. So again, be honest here with yourself. Who reckons they're putting in 90 to 100% for that goal or thing they really want to accomplish? Put your hand up. 1. Okay. Okay, that's about average when I ask that question. Don't worry, okay? Who's putting in 80%? 70%? Be honest. Okay, for you, 60%. Not a lot more. 50%? Okay, 40%? 30%? Anyone less than 30%? Just be honest again. Okay, I really respect that honesty. Thank you very much. I'm going to say on average there, our average is about 50 or 60%. Now, guys, I'm not here to patronize you today. That's when you tell people things they already know. That was a joke. I'm actually going to point out something that's really obvious here. Why on earth would you ever expect to get 100% of the reward, which is what you've all told me you wanted, if you're only willing to put in about 50 or 60% of the effort? Okay? If you put in 50 or 60% of the effort, you'll get around 50 or 60% of the reward. Okay? If you put in 90% of the effort, you'll get around 90% of the reward. I know this seems a bit simple and a bit daft, but sometimes life is that simple. I mean, I know for a fact some of the guys in here, maybe some of the girls as well, are probably absolutely amazing at Call of Duty and FIFA, all right? And the reason you're amazing at Call of Duty and FIFA is because you put lots of time and effort into Call of Duty or FIFA, okay? It doesn't matter whether you're good at a sport, a musical instrument, singing, dancing, swimming, whatever it is, any if you're good at, you'll only be good at it because you put lots of time and effort into it, okay? It's just a fact of life. Now, what really bugs me is I get a lot of teenage boys who'll say to me things like, oh, you know, Dee, see, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a footballer, but it's just not going to happen because, see, like Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, those type of guys, they were born to play football. You know, they were born with that talent. Now, no one's born to do anything, all right? If that was true, then what happens if Lionel Messi or Ronaldo had been born 1,000 years ago before football was invented? all right? They wouldn't have had a sudden urge to kick stuff. Just woke up one day, wanted to kick dogs in the street or something, all right? The reason they're good at football, and it's something that David mentioned earlier, is because they've practiced an awful lot. You can YouTube Lionel Messi or Ronaldo at the age of 3 or 4. They've got a ball at their feet, they're practicing. You can YouTube Rory McIlroy, okay? At the age of 5 or 6, he's on TV and he's chipping golf balls into his mum's washing machine. All right, you can YouTube Beyonce, age 7 or 8, she's singing, she's dancing, she's practicing. People do things so many times that what we find difficult, they find very, very easy because they've put a huge amount of time and effort into them. Really stupid example, but I want you to give this a go, okay? Put your fist out like this for me, please. Put your fist out, okay? Put one thumb up. On the other hand, put the other pinky out like that. Okay, some of you are struggling already. All I want you to do from here is swap them over like that. Now look at your hands, all right? And if you can do it, see how many times you can swap that over, all right? Now, guys, I'm gonna stop that short. Some of you are getting really angry at your hands. I love how right now some of the girls are talking to their hands, like, come on now, we can do this, all right? Very simply, see for you, that's quite difficult. It's a very conscious action. You have to pretty much sit there and kind of very consciously think, okay, put this thumb up, no, this one down. It's quite difficult for you. Now, see, for me and my work, I travel all over the UK, and I do this talk now and again. I do this maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So because I do this little bit 2 or 3 times a week, for me, it's very, very easy. In fact, I can keep doing it and talk to you at the same time very, very fast because I've practiced it so many times, it's became very easy. I'm really worried some of you are really impressed by this. If you're impressed by this, if you do this for 5 minutes every single night, I guarantee within a fortnight, you'll be able to impress all your mates, okay? It's a silly example, but I'm making a point here. You practice something enough, you get better until it becomes second nature. That's why people are amazing at things. And there is a bit of a problem, though, because the media can certainly spin it a different way. Now, some of you, I asked you to do little statements to agree or disagree. Not very many of you put your hand up when I asked the question that certain athletes are born with a natural talent. There is such a thing as natural talent. That there is, okay, I hate to say it, but there is. You can be born with some genetics, some physical abilities, what will put you ahead a little bit of other people. The problem is the media has a spinner that makes you believe that when you see someone do something amazing, about 50 or 60% of their talent is natural. The other 40 or 50% comes from hard work and dedication. Actual research shows us that when someone's amazing at something, only between 10 and 20% is natural, okay? The other 80 to 90% comes from hard work and effort. So, for example, Usain Bolt, 2008, becomes not the fastest man in the world, he becomes the fastest man who's ever lived on this planet, which is ridiculous, okay? And we were astonished at how well he broke that record, and after he was in a press conference, he announced to the media that actually 45 minutes before the race, he was eating some chicken nuggets. Which is true, by the way. He was eating chicken nuggets 45 minutes before that race. And people, the media spun it. You know, this guy is so naturally talented, he can have McDonald's 45 minutes before a race and he can still be the fastest man who's ever lived. What the media didn't tell you is that Usain Bolt also told them that he trained so hard for that event 6 months before it, 6 months before the Beijing Olympics, that he had to be taken to hospital because he trained so hard in the heat in Jamaica that he was spewing over the side of a wall and passing out. Okay, but they don't tell you that because that's not as cool. We have to be very careful about what the media can tell us. So I guess my real question for you guys is, where are you putting your time and effort and energy? Okay, because I read a statistic recently that said the average person in the UK at the minute spends around 5 hours of their evening in front of a screen. Okay, whether that screen is your TV, or your phone, or your laptop, or your tablet, 5 hours. And that's average. Some of you will be an awful lot more than 5 hours. Okay, now, let's say you decided that you're going to spend 1 hour every single night devoting yourself to that goal that you have in mind. Whether, again, it's fitness, it's a sport, it's a bit of schoolwork. Imagine if you devoted 1 hour every single night. And imagine you do that every single night, Monday to Friday. Give your weekends off if you wanted to. You don't have to. Let's say you had weekends off. That's 5 hours a week. That's 20 hours a month. Do you reckon you get closer to your goal if you did an extra 20 hours a month of hard work at it? Of course you would. So imagine if you did 2 hours every single night. There's 40 hours towards it. Okay? It's not rocket science. I get asked an awful lot, how can I get my son or daughter to study? Or how can I get this goal? It does sometimes take a lot of time and effort. And it won't always be fun. We've been brought up into a fun culture. Everything's supposed to be fun. You know, TV's fun. Music's fun. Video games are fun. Friends are fun. Oh, you have to do something that's not fun? I don't bother. Okay? Your brain is constantly looking for excuses to do what's easy. Okay? The problem is, easy didn't really lead anyone to success, or certainly that much success, unless you win the lottery, which is highly unlikely. If you want to be successful at something, you're going to have to put the time and effort into it. And you know what? There's a big problem. There's procrastination. okay? Putting in effort, the things you don't need to do to avoid the thing you're supposed to do. I was really bad for that at school when I had to study. You'd have that moment where you decide to have your 5-minute food break, which turns into your 50-minute food break, and then you realize one of your favorite TV shows is on. Okay, Friends or Family Guy. It's Big Bang Theory. And you think to yourself, you know what? I've studied so hard up there, I could probably afford to watch one episode of my favorite show. So of course you watch one episode, and if over the course of that show you realize there's a double bill on. Okay, you're not going to not watch a double bill, that would just be rude. So you decide to watch 2 episodes of your favorite show. You finally turn the TV off and you've got another distraction, in my case a little brother, who comes in and says, Dee, do you want a game of FIFA? All right, FIFA or studying? All right, FIFA wins every single time. Back down the stairs, and before I know it, my 5-minute food break turned into my 3-hour TV and gaming marathon. Okay, put your hands if you've had something like that happen to you. Okay, yeah, it's annoying. Okay, there is one thing that's more annoying than that though, and for me it was when those final results came out. It was my penultimate year of school. I think it's 5th year up in Scotland for you guys. I think that's year 12. And that morning the exam results come out. You know, you're nervous and you're excited at the same time, and you run down the stairs, you get the envelope, you rip it open. And I was sitting 5 hires at the time, and you realise as you open that paper that you failed 4 out of your 5 hires. Okay, now I'll tell you from personal experience, there wasn't any part of me that looked at that and thought, oh man, I failed all of my hires, but I'm amazing at FIFA. All I was filled was with regret. I was regret all those nights that I'd seen my mates or watched films I'd already seen, watched TV, walked my dog, didn't even have a dog. I would do all the things I didn't need to do to avoid the thing I wanted to, and it haunted me, all right? And the fact is, you know, I could go on about effort, and you could tell me, right, Dee, you know what, I get it. Okay, more effort's going to equal more reward. Maybe that's not your issue. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, but why? Why bother? Why is the most fundamental question to being motivated? You know, motivation's great. You can get motivated by movies, by music, by teachers, by parents. I can come in and motivate you. But being motivated is a bit like sort of blowing up a balloon. Lasts for a while. But maybe after today, your motivation may last a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years. But at some point, that balloon's going to deflate. And the only way you can tie the end of that knot, I guess, and keep the motivation locked in is by asking yourself that question, why? Why bother? So that's a pretty fundamental question. Now, if you ask yourself, why you bother in school? Why put in all this effort? Well, I'm guessing you're going to tell me because you want to get some good grades, right? And why would you want some good grades? Well, maybe it's because you want to go to university or college. And you do all that so you can get another piece of paper with more letters on it. Okay? And once you get that, you're probably going to wait that at a job. And why would you want a good job? Money. Someone said it, all right? Now, money isn't everything. It's really not. There's a great quote, one of my favorite quotes from Jim Carrey, the comedian and actor. He once said that he wishes everyone in the world could experience what it's like to be rich and famous, because then they'd know it's not the answer to being happy. Right, we all want to be rich and famous, but if you look at your celebrities, they're all drug addicts, alcoholics, they're not happy, they have plastic surgery, they're really not the people you maybe think they are. But regardless, I'm willing to bet that in the next 20 years, you've all got a little image in your head of having a nice house or a fairly nice car, nice holidays, nice things. All right, so really, the reason you're worried, all right guys, come on in. The reason you're worried, just casually strolling, that's fine. The reason you're worried about your exams, in school certainly, is because you know deep down inside, whether you want to admit it or not, what happens in your exams may influence what type of lifestyle you're going to have in the future. Now, I know that your parents and your teachers can put lots of pressure on you, okay? But let's be really honest. Your teachers, okay, they don't work on commission. Like if you do really well, they get a bonus at the end of the year. If you do really badly, they get a pay cut. They'll get the same, okay? If you pass or fail all your exams, be a new wave of pupils to teach next year. Your parents, okay, whether you pass or fail all your exams, you become successful or not, they will drive the same car and live in the same house. Their lifestyle will largely remain unaffected by what happens to you. You're doing your exams, you're working hard, you're trying to get your career for you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you're going to maybe want to put a little bit more of that effort in. There are, though, 2 big problems when it comes to putting in effort. There's 2 excuses. I talked about your brain wanting to do what's easy. There are 2 main excuses your brain will always make up for when it comes to coming to do any sort of hard work. The first one is it likes to tell you that things are impossible. That is the first barrier. You know, how many times have you done that? You've maybe in school, a simple example, but you're at maths, okay, and you're trying to do this equation. And you've been trying this equation for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 minutes, and after 30 minutes, you finally have this light bulb moment, and you go, I've got it. This isn't difficult at all. It's impossible. And once you convince yourself it's impossible, it's an excuse to close the book, put it away, because as far as you're concerned, it can't be done. If your brain can convince you it's impossible, it can convince you not to do it. If I told you to go to the roof of this building, jump off and fly, None of you would do that. You know flying is impossible. Therefore, you'd fear breaking an arm, breaking a leg, or dying. Therefore, you'd avoid that challenge. That's how the word impossible works. My problem is I think a lot of you are telling yourself something's impossible when it's not. You just want to give up faster. But there's a much worse excuse than that, because sometimes you know it's possible. You know you go for that dream job, that dream career, that thing you really want to. You know it's possible. But you try and you try and you try. And after a certain period of time of trying, you tell yourself, you know what, I know I could do this. But to be honest, when I think about it, what's the point? Is it really that important? You tell yourself it's pointless. Again, if you can convince yourself it's pointless, you can convince yourself to give up faster. Really classic example. How many, put your hand up if you've ever said this or thought it in your head, when am I ever going to need to know this when I leave school? All right, really classic example, okay? Guys, I'm going to be really honest with you, maybe more honest than some adults have been with you in your life so far. There are tons of things you learn in school which you will not need to know for the rest of your life. Okay, there you go, I said it. Okay, I'm sure the adults in the room would agree with me. If I sat my higher biology exam tomorrow, even though I passed it at the time, I would fail it spectacularly. Okay, I can't remember any of that stuff. But it just so happens that when it comes to your studies, you just so happen to live in a country where the government decide your academic success by your grades. Okay, so if you really want to get to that job or that university, that college, that job, you basically have to jump through the government's hoops. All right, do you need to know this stuff in 20 years' time? No. Do you need to know it for the next few weeks, next few months? Absolutely. But you have to make that decision in your head. It's a bit like an Olympic athlete. Yes, things are hard work. Olympic athletes get up at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 or 6 days a week to go and train. And in case you didn't know, they don't enjoy that. They don't wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning and think, yes, got a 15-mile run, go to the gym all day, go to the pool later on, maybe miss dinner, maybe not see my family or friends. It's really, really hard work. But an Olympic athlete knows that all that hard work and effort and blood, sweat, and tears isn't pointless. They know all that hard work and effort and blood, sweat, and tears will eventually, hopefully, one day lead them to a gold medal. And that's how you have to view your effort. It's not pointless, it's not impossible, it's going to get you. It may take a little bit of time, but you're putting down those blocks to whatever it is your success is. And guys, very simply, the reason I'm telling you all this is because I work with adults an awful lot, okay? And one of the things I hear from adults more than anything else are stories of regret. Oh, I see when I was younger, I really wanted to go and do that, but I never did it. Or when I was younger, I wanted to go and do that thing, but I bottled it. Or I see when I was younger, I had this chance, but I never gave it my all, didn't give it all my effort. They have all these regrets. You're at a point in your life where you can literally go and do and be all the things that you really want to go and do and be. And you know what? If you give something a go and it doesn't work out, well then, at least you know. Okay, I remember when I was in second year university. In my second year, I discovered that I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. So I decided I was going to take a gap year for university, go and see the world, go and find myself, and come back a year, and maybe after that I'd want to be a teacher again. And nobody wanted me to do it. My parents, my mates all told me to stay and finish the course. I said, listen, this is something I have to go and do. I left university on a Friday, signed off all the papers. On the Monday, I walked into the Royal Bank of Scotland, and I said, listen, I've just taken a gap year from university. Could I get some money, please, to go and travel the world? And the bank basically laughed in my face. You want us to give you money when you've not got a full-time job, you've no degree, you're not getting a penny, mate. See you later. All right? Now, I left that day absolutely devastated. What I had to do at that point was panic, and I phoned back university on the Tuesday and said, listen, I've made a massive mistake. Could I please come back? And they said, listen, we've actually already processed your papers, but we can reprocess them. It's okay, but it takes a week. So take this week off. We'll see you next Monday. And I was so relieved I hadn't messed everything up. Went back the following Monday, and to this day, my uni mates still make fun of me of that time that Dee went on his gap week. I went away like the big man and came back a week later. But that gap week was important for me because I realized at that point, I'm going to have to see this through. I didn't have any other opportunities or any other chances. Sometimes you have to persevere, and I did persevere, and I eventually got my motivation back. Another really stupid example, but I'm going to go with it. You ever watch the show Total Wipeout? Right? I'm the type of person that if I don't like something, I want to try something, I'll just do it, okay? It sounds simple, but I mean, how many of you hate a food that you've never actually tried? Put your hand up. All right. How many of you hate a film franchise you've ever watched more than 10 minutes of? Hands up. All right. There's lots of things that we have an opinion of, but we don't try. I'm the type of person that if I want to do something, I'll just do it. And I was watching Total Wipeout one night, again, when I was at university, and as I sat and watched that show, I thought to myself, you know what, that looks really fun. And I watched another contestant, I thought, you know what, I could well do that. And I watched another contestant, you know, I could smash that. I could do that faster than all those guys. And I got myself really built up. And then at one point I thought to myself, you know what, why am I talking about it? Why don't I just do it? So I got my laptop at that night, and I went to apply for the game show Total Wipeout. All right? It's a true story. And you get the application page. You have to fill in your height, your age, your weight, your details, medical details. I got through all that. Then I got to a questionnaire. The first question on the questionnaire, are you afraid of heights? I'm terrified of heights. All right? So I took the little yes box. Second question, would you have a problem jumping from a large height into a large body of water? And I ticked the little yes box. Third question, would you have a problem jumping from a large height through a fiery hoop into a large body of water? And I closed my laptop, right? And I realized I could never go on that show. But the point I'm making is here, if I hadn't tried it, in fact, if I hadn't got my laptop out that night, I would probably to this day still occasionally see that show on TV and think, oh, you know what, see when I was younger, I could have done that, all right, when I was more free time at uni, but I'm too busy now with my career, but I could have when I was younger. But I don't, okay, because I did give it a go and it didn't work out, but at least now I know that, okay? If we can't let these opportunities pass us by, because you know what, life is pretty quick. It flies by. Put your hand up if, for you, last year was the fastest year of your entire life. You said that or thought it. Last year was the fastest year of your life. Okay, I've been saying that every year for the last 10 years, okay? It keeps getting faster. I can remember very clearly being at your stage, and believe me, you'll get to my stage quicker than you'd like to think. But the fact is, sometimes we rush through it. You know, right now maybe you're thinking about you want to get today, you're enjoying today, but you've got something on tonight you can't wait to get to. Or maybe you can't wait for the summer holidays because your exams will be finished. Maybe you want to get to uni, maybe you want to rush on. We keep rushing and rushing and rushing. Okay, people do that their entire life. They rush through things, they rush through their job they don't like, they want to get that summer holiday in, they want to get the promotion, they rush and they rush and they rush, and they get to 65 or 70, and they finally retire. And I think this is great, I've finally retired, I've got time off, I've got money, I've got a wee bit of time to enjoy it, maybe 15, 20 years if you're lucky, and then you die, all right? A bit grim, right? But essentially that's it. The whole point is that you rush through this life, and once you get to the end of it, you can enjoy it. People who do that, they get to 65, 70, 75, they retire, and they go, this is great. You know, I'm finally retired. And they look back on their life and think, you know what, it's nice to be here, but I was so busy working in that job I never liked. I never actually got to go to that country, or I never actually got to go and keep in contact with my best mate. I never got to learn how to play guitar. I never got to learn that language. I never got to see my kids grow up. And list of all these things they never got to do because they were so busy being unhappy and rushing to the next thing. I read a really nice quote recently that said that life should be like a piece of music. The point of music or a song was to get to the end of it as fast as you can. Every song you listen to in the radio would be about 10 seconds long. Okay? The point of music or a song isn't to get to the end of it as fast as you can. The point of music or a song is just to enjoy it as you go through it. And we should be enjoying all aspects of our life. Okay? We're trying to get through things. Yes, some things are tough, but you always have to see that bigger picture. And you know what's difficult? When you see other people's successes. You know? When you see that person, you think, you know, how have they done that? I could never do that. Again, that word impossible creeps up. There's two ways you can view other people's success, and there's a big difference. People who are maybe don't do so well in life, they look at people who are successful and they go, oh, they just had a lucky run. You know, all the doors are open for them. I didn't get that. That's not the case at all. Usually people who are successful fail just as many times, if not more times, but the difference was they were willing to persist and keep trying and pushing. Okay? When it comes to success, you can look at it in two very different ways. I knew a guy in school called Pete. Pete and I weren't that friendly. I just knew of him. And I left school and heard when I was about 21 or 22 that Pete had apparently won 20 grand in the lottery. And I was raging. I was like, Pete, out of all the people to win money, that guy will literally waste it. He'll be at the bookies, he'll drink it away. You know, I would have put it towards a house or a car. He'll waste it. I got so jealous. I had absolutely no right to be jealous. Do you know why? Because I don't do the lottery. So why would I get jealous about something I don't do? All right? How many if you look at someone in school and think, oh, they're just lucky. They were born with brains. You know, they just go into class, they listen once, and they remember it forever. The next time you have that moment, have a little look at that person and look at what they're doing. All right? I guarantee that person will be paying more attention. They'll not be getting distracted. They'll put more effort into their homework, their classwork. They'll ask their teachers for help. They'll be in tons of little things you're not. So before you pass it off as natural talent, are there improvements that you could be making? And the fact is, people who are successful, people who view success, they don't get jealous about it. People who are successful look at it and they get inspired and motivated by it. Okay? Sports stars, a lot of them have got there because they looked at someone else and thought, you know what, if they can do it, why can't I? Gareth Bale, okay, about to get dropped from the Tottenham squad because he was crap. Okay, he realized one day he was the exact same height as Cristiano Ronaldo. Because he was the same height, he figured, well, maybe if I was to go to the gym a little bit more, put on more weight, put on a bit of muscle mass, get faster, get stronger, maybe practice on my passing on my shooting, practice all these things over and over and over again, maybe I can improve. And within 2 years, he's the most expensive player in the world, playing for the biggest club in the world, scoring goals in the Champions League final. All because instead of getting jealous of somebody else, he decided to get inspired and motivated by them. What if you guys decided to get inspired and motivated by each other, rather than getting jealous? You know, if you got inspired and motivated by other people, that's going to lead you to a huge amount of success inside and outside of school. You know, that thing that you're really wanting to practice, how much time are you giving it? Are you getting up? Say if it was, I'm just going to use football as an example because it's a general example, but let's say you want to be a footballer. Are you getting up an hour before school to go for a fitness run? Because if you can become the fittest person in the team, you can run more. You run more, you can get the ball more. Get the ball more, you can pass more, you can shoot more, you can score more goals. Okay? It's all about the little bits of effort that you're putting in along the way. And guys, if I have any kind of one rule for being successful, my one rule by far is that, and this is by far the cheesiest thing I'm going to say to you all day today, is that you have to believe in yourself. All right, now before you all reach for the sick bucket, let me explain why that's cheesy. That word believe in yourself is cheesy because you've heard it so many times through family, friends, media, TV shows, little cheesy motivational posters with believe in yourself on it, that it's lost all of its meaning. Okay, let me explain what I mean by believe in yourself. If there's something you would love to go and do, right, and you can see yourself doing it in the future, well, why on earth would you ever expect anyone else to believe in your idea if you don't really believe in it in the first place? You have to be the first person to go, you know what, that's exactly what I'm going to go and do. And once you really believe in it, other people may start to as well. But it's completely down to you. It's all about how much you're willing to do it yourself, which is the theme of today. How much are you willing to put in the effort to do things yourself? Not what other people want, not what your parents want, not what your teachers want. What do you really want out of this experience? Because you're only here once, okay? And being here once can be the scariest thing in the world, or it can be the most amazing thing in the world. But again, just like that little cup of water at the start, you make your choice. It is absolutely down to your mindset, your attitude, and your behavior. And if you have the right mindset, the right attitude, if you choose to embrace new challenges, persist when they get difficult, you view effort as not being pointless, but choosing to view it as the path to your success, and if you get inspired and motivated by people around you, I guarantee you it will lead you to a huge amount of success, not only in school, but outside of school as well. Guys, can I thank you very much for your time? I think I've had about my 20 minutes roughly there. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for listening for so much. And I look forward to the workshops a little bit later on today. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. All right.